This is KMTV, Liberia's first online television, and we are broadcasting from our studios in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. My name is Nathan Charles. On today's edition, bringing you the closing argument panelists on the second edition of the program, the closing argument, on this platform and on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and other uh, appliances we have, that is application we have on your Roku, Android, and Apple TV. The closing argument program is also relayed on one of Liberia's best entertainment station, that is Hott FM 107.9, headed by DJ Blue. And interestingly, 36 community radio stations are also relaying the closing argument show. So let's now join the host of this program, Ben Sanvi. Ben, welcome to take over your show.
Thank you. It's good to see you, Nathan. It's good to see you. I think the rest of the guys are going to be joining us soon, so let's bring them on one by one. Um, we Kev, it's good to see you. Everybody, welcome,
Yeah.
welcome to everybody. Welcome to all our viewers. I think Jackie is also joining us, so let's also bring her on. It's good to be here. Good Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to everybody. Um, it is going to be an interesting discussion. It's just us today. We made a conscious decision to have a very substantive conversation today. The truth is, guys, we did have a long laundry list on Monday, but we couldn't complete it. So we made a decision today to continue, and then we will be able to get guests and sometimes on Friday, and then next week. I can tell you that next week is going to be a jam-packed week. We're going to be having some heavy hitters joining us next week. So without much ado, how are you guys doing? Jackie, the ladies first. How you doing? How was your first day, and how have things been?
Oh, well, first of all, let me say hello to all the wonderful and loving people in Liberia and across the world. Hello and welcome to everyone who's watching this show at this time. It's been great. Our maiden edition on Monday was wonderful. It was exciting, and I'm looking forward to another exciting day today.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to see you too. Good to see you. Kefa-san, I see you got the executive mansion behind you. What's going on?
Well, welcome everybody. We'll have a great show today. Like you said, Ben, we have a lot of points on our list, but we will finish it today.
Great, great. Tomlin and George, you want to come in? I see your clock behind you.
Oh, yeah. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Want to say again, welcome. It's good to be back on the closing argument. And with 195 days to the elections, we're going to we're asking people to come and make the closing argument, make the compelling case why they should be elected, or why we are shouldn't be reelected, or why we are should be reelected. So we are here to discuss the issues.
The body, you're
Right.
back in your regular location.
Yes, back to my base, and everybody can see me. But it's so good to be back and good to see everybody on this second edition of the Closing Argument. We're looking forward to a healthy conversation today, and I'm excited. I'm just excited and looking forward to it. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah. Great, guys. Again, welcome to the closing argument. And just full disclosure, Tommy, I think you're going to be hosting on Friday, right? Just so let's just set the record straight. This is not what you say. You muted. Go ahead.
Yeah, Friday is what? This is what?
Friday is what? It's 2 days from now. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, so no problem.
Yeah. So we're gonna spice this thing up. Jackie is also gonna be hosting sometime next week. I know she was trying not to, but I'm gonna put her on the spot publicly, so the country will be looking forward to Jackie hosting next week. Kef Hassan, oh my God, should we let Kef Hassan host the show? I don't know if you allowed Jackie to talk. That's the problem. But no, guys, welcome to the closing argument. We do have a very fascinating discussion today. We have two, I believe, two or three talking points. We were supposed to talk about the president's visit to Washington and also to the United Arab Emirates, the famous $50 billion climate $50 billion climate what does it mean deal. Kev is gonna maybe Kev will let us know if it mean does it mean that $50 billion is coming to Liberia, or what does that mean? What does it mean, when it comes to the issue of what was in that package? But we also want to know, there's been a lot of speculation on what the president did in Washington, D.C. via Langley. We're going to be looking at where where U.S. policy is currently. We're also going to be talking about the fact that where does Liberia fit in all of this? Because there's a lot of scare when it comes to the whole issue of U.S. policy, right? Per se, in the whole Western the Sahel, Mali, Burkina Faso, all of those different things. We're going to dig deep into that, and we're going to talk about we're going to talk about that also. We are going to be, I believe we're also live on Hott FM 107.9, and we'll be relayed on these 36 radio stations across the country. Like I said, we're getting all their names together, so we will be sending them some shout outs. We want to thank all of our supporters, guys, and I think we'll take some time to thank everybody for having a very successful show on the first day. It was an amazing conversation. We want to thank Mariah Kula. By the way, she's doing very well. We got a chance to speak. She did have a emergency, and so she was not able to complete the show. 110 minutes of Boka Fofana. Like I said, beginning next week, we're going to be having a very, 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 very packed show. Very, very, very packed show. We're going to be bringing a lot of policy makers, chairpersons of political party. We even may have a presidential candidate next week. Having said that, Tomini, I want to start with you. Let's start the conversation about President Weah's visit to Washington, D.C. It was clearly reported that President Weah visited Langley, which is the CIA headquarters. What are your thoughts? I mean, the government has been tight-lipped on this visit. What are your thoughts? What do you think was discussed, and what is in it for Liberia?
First of all, a lot of speculations over the visit by the president to Langley, the CIA's headquarters, for the fact that we have not seen in recent times where a sitting president of Liberia was invited to the CIA headquarters. So that's why people are all speculating and so forth. And for the fact that the government is yet to put a release about what this was about, what was discussed. So yeah, speculation all over the place. From even people in the government are concerned about what was discussed at Langley, and moreover, too, within this, it came at a time where the U.S. released the human rights report on Liberia. Just in that time, it came about. But what we fail to forget, to realize, is that prior to this invitation, the CIA boss William Burns visited Liberia in January.
Mm-hmm.
Prior visit, they didn't announce the visit. The visit inquired in January, and he toured a new NSA building, which the U.S. government, they helped to fund that project.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also the U.S. government also provides assistance to the NSA on a yearly basis, being from time immemorial. So, with all of that in mind, an invitation was extended to President Weah, and what concerned a lot of people too, he brought most members of the National Security Council.
Sure.
The chairman of the Joint Security of Justice Minister Dean, Defense Minister Zanga, also the NSA boss. So they all were at Langley. So for the fact that, as I said earlier, people are tight-lipped on it, and speculations are all over the place. So until the government can come up with a release, or the president or someone can break silence on what they discussed there, we'll continue to hear about these speculations, and people continue to speculate and come up with all kind of conspiracy theories and so forth. So right now we are all digging deeper to find out what really was discussed at Langley and what they were about.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Tomini. I want to go to Jackie. Jackie, do you believe the government should have put out something? Should they have said, listen, based on the fact that this thing is classified, because obviously the CIA is a spy agency, so they're not, you don't find CIA issuing press statements. Do you believe the government of Liberia owed the Liberian people some kind of explanation here, rather than just leaving it hanging for everybody to formulate their own opinions? Do you believe so?
Definitely. The government, President Weah and his cabinet members, some of his cabinet members left Liberia. And before they even left Liberia, they should have released a press statement, although they did say, well, the president was leaving to go to the UAE and also to the United States. But at least some general information should have been provided to the public. That will help to minimize all the speculations that are out there as to what the visit was. Definitely, we know there was a visit at the CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia. And like Tomalin said, the CIA director, Mr. Burns, went to Liberia, visited Liberia several weeks ago. So one can only speculate what it is. I don't like speculations, but I'm not going to say a whole lot. Hopefully, we will have some idea. I did see the president's interview when he arrived at RIA at the airport, and there was like a 2-minute interview by the press. He did not. One of the journalists did ask him what the visit was about, and he did not disclose any information. Hopefully in the future, when he does another interview, or maybe his press secretary or somebody from MICAD can provide a little bit more details, even if it's classified. I mean, how do we determine what is classified from Liberia terms? I hope that we can get more details about that, other than what is in the press right now.
Yeah, thank you for that. Kev, can you share some light? I mean, you are a strong supporter of the president, a strong supporter of this government. You are sedition. First of all, they say when you leave these, holes, right? There's a tendency for people to formulate the narrative and drive the story. So that's why I think you heard all the different narratives, right? I heard people saying the president was arrested. There were people. I mean, there was just all these different gossip out there. Like I like to call it conspiracy theories, right? Everybody out there will have said their own thing. Do you think you guys should have said something? At least even put a statement out and say, hey, this thing was classified, but guess what? It's in the interest of Liberia. Do you think the government missed the mark there a little? Do you think they did?
Well, no. Normally, I don't think. Sometimes government do wrong by what happening on the streets or what they're saying on Facebook. That's not how government will run because of public misinformation or sometimes, the CIA boss went to Liberia.
Go ahead.
And,
sorry.
yeah, and up to and nobody can tell me in America here who live in America the details of the discussion with the president. Can anybody tell me? He went to Liberia, went to Libya. But the American people are not passing on the street. They say, tell us. Because of my proximity, I would not go into details and on that. But I feel that I don't think what was out there by people who sharing misinformation, and according to the U.S. ambassador, most of them who out there just want to destroy the country. So, but everything that out there is untrue. Everything that people speculating about investigation, all those things, is untrue. Don't make no sense. If you investigating a sitting president, why is not on CNN, not on BBC? You think it's a joke? But because of a lot of people have that small mindset, they can believe. You know, if you fall for everything, as the saying say, you stand for nothing, right?
Mm.
So there's nothing. So people just fall for all the garbage out there. But what I'm saying that the United States government respect this government, and if I was opposition, I would be worried.
And thank you.
But
Let
let
me.
me say this.
Mhm.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
Look, Kev, we shouldn't underestimate the magnitude of this visit. First of all, the CIA mandate is to protect America's national security. So whenever the CIA visits anywhere, that's what they're doing. Again, we're not going to speculate, but for us as a country to have a meeting with the CIA, whether it's in Liberia or whether it's here in Virginia, it has to be very, very serious. The CIA doesn't just play around just to be playing around. Again, we hope that there will be some information that will be provided. We have the National Security Agency in Liberia, whose mandate is to also protect the national security or for national security for the Liberian people, to protect our national security. So whatever visits that was done here in Virginia, we must not underestimate the magnitude of that visit. It has to do with America, the United States of America, national concern. So whatever that is, it is something that was very, very crucial, and that's what I just wanted to stress.
Thank
Well,
you. But can Dr. Peabody come in, and then we can get you to respond to Jackie. Go ahead, Doc.
Yes, I think it is important, when it comes to the national security interests of the United States and that of Liberia. I think it is important for both countries, but equally so, I think the government should. I mean, they don't have to get into the classified information about the visit, but just something on the president coming and what are some things. I'm sure there were some things that the president could disclose to us, not getting into the classified part of it, and just let us know what the concern. I mean, he owed to Liberian people. The Liberian people, that's his responsibility to inform the Liberian people because the taxpayer have fought this trip to the U.S. They should be telling the Liberian people at least give us without getting into the classified part of it, but give us some information on the visit and what Liberia hope to achieve. I think that's something like that they could do. But on the flip side, this has to do with intelligence. This has to do with classified information. Maybe the president may not be at that liberty to disclose anything that may have happened. But I will hope that something or some kind of information will come up so that the Liberian people will the doubt will be clear, because right now all the Liberians are in doubt. Why did he go? Why did he go? Everybody formulating their own opinion on why the president went. At least something that will not kind of interfere with any classified information, but just something to let the Liberian people. I think
Thank you for that. But I want us to before you come in, I want us to do something. Obviously, there is an issue here. The U.S. government is concerned about activities in West Africa. They are also concerned about Russia and China's influence in West Africa. It is an open secret. It's not something that is hidden, right? They are very concerned. In fact, there was a what's the thing name? There was a Senate hearing held, or congressional hearing, joint congressional hearing held here in this country, regarding the from AFRICOM, the heads of AFRICOM, the African Command Center, because the U.S. government. For those of you out there who don't know what AFRICOM is the U.S. Command Center, the military command center for Africa. They have CENTCOM, which is I think Central Europe and NATO. They have different command centers across the world, and Africa is the one for Africa is called AFRICOM, and the head of AFRICOM did a very, very interesting. There was a very interesting exchange he had on Capitol Hill where he outlined a lot of those things. And I think we have a video of a clip of him, and maybe we'll see if we can get studio to cue it for us, and they can give us a thumbs up if it's ready, while we can go ahead and listen to it, and then that will form the basis of our next set of discussion. So let's go ahead and cue it, studio.
Of China. The aspirations of China is threefold. One, from the geopolitical. They're trying to change international norms, and they're using some of the African countries within the UN construct, whether it be General Assembly or the Security Council, trying to affect votes to change those international norms and the international system writ large. And then there's the geostrategic operation. There are aspirations for military bases on the continent of Africa. Just talk to my African partners, they don't want to be militarized in a strategic sense. And the last piece, Senator, is geoeconomic. Our future economy is dependent upon a number of rare earth minerals. And also some of our clean energy technologies depend upon the rare earth minerals. About 30 to 40% of those minerals are on the continent of Africa. That's forward thinking by the PRC. They're trying to harvest and leverage upon that through shaky deals, engaging with some of these countries so they can corner the market, if you will. That's what I'm concerned about, Senator. Thank you.
Listen, I mean, you heard that. I think, and any one of you can take this. I don't know who want to go first.
The audio was very low for me, so I could.
Oh, you didn't hear that? Okay, so let me just give you a quick summary. Listen, they are concerned. They believe, obviously, they believe Africa, hosts many of the things that they're going to need as a nation, right? When you talk about green energy, he was very clear. He didn't hide it. He was very clear that PRC, the People's Republic of China, and I think to a certain degree Russia, is now seeing Africa as the new frontier. There have been this allegation out there that the U.S. had let up on Africa, and so you saw a huge influx of Chinese influence, and then now you see the Russians right behind them. So could this be? And the fact that they invited Liberia, which is America's oldest ally on the African continent, they didn't invite any other president, right, to Langley. They invited President Weah. Do you think this have any correlation? Does anybody want to take a stab at it? Is there any correlation here?
Personally, I think I would be surprised if from this video that we just saw, if part of this discussion in Langley did not include what we just saw here on this video. It is true. I mean, we in Liberia, we see China's presence everywhere. China built the African Union headquarters several years ago. And even right now, China is the second most powerful country in the world. The GDP getting closer and closer to America's GDP every single year. Even one year, I think in 2019, China GDP had kind of, just for that year, for that brief period, had kind of gone above that of America. So the competition between America and China, even as we see on the U.S. With the U.S. media reports, is getting tighter and tighter every day. This Ukraine war is a very serious thing. We only pray and hope, because some people are even calling it a Cold War in a sense. And if that's the case, that's going to impact Africa as a whole, including Liberia. With the Ukraine war, we see what's going on even in the agriculture sector, just name it, the different sectors. The COVID that just took the world, on unprecedented level. How it affected global supply chain and made America very, very vulnerable. Affected America a whole lot, and even its Western allies. Now you see with the gas stuff, the energy, the oil, where Western Europe is highly dependent on Russia for oil and gas.
Yeah.
So with the war in Ukraine, and Western Europe had to even turn back to Nigeria again for help.
Yeah.
You saw Dangote, the richest black man in the world, who's from Nigeria, where Europe had to turn to him, and he had to immediately open a fertilizer plant. And now he has the largest fertilizer plant in Africa. This is really for us, Africa. I posted this several months ago, for Africa to now position itself in the world as we get demands from our Western brothers, including America. We should also demand certain things. Right now, today, Africa doesn't even have a seat on the G. You got a G7, then you got a G20. You only have the AU, the G20. You only have the AU and South Africa that sit on there. So my thing is, Africa now, including Liberia, when these AU meetings are taking place, yes, if they demand stuff from us to protect the national security, we should also come together in one voice and try to demand other things, some level of equity and negotiations, so that our national security is also protected.
I agree.
Specifically even for Liberia.
I think you're
going
right.
back to your question, I would really be surprised if that video that we just saw, that part of that discussion was not held at the CIA level, because when the CIA meets, their only objective is national security for the United States.
Thank you, Jackie. I want Kev Hassan to come in, and then we'll come to George. Kev Hassan, there are Front Page Africa, courtesy of Front Page Africa. There was a story in Front Page Africa that alluded to the fact that Liberia may be. They said maybe, and I want to be very clear without trying to sound like it is definitive. But there was a story that said Liberia may be in pole position to host a U.S. command center. What do you think? And piggybacking from what Jackie just said, what do you think Liberia should be demanding? Because obviously this is a give and take situation here, right? We are needed at this point in time, because if you're not needed, Bill Burns will not fly to Liberia just because he wants to sit and have tea or coffee with President Weah. President Weah would not get an invite to Langley just because they wanted to come see his face and laugh and say, okay, yes, and so. So what do you think we should be demanding from at this period, going into this crucial stage?
What I can tell you, you guys are, and on point. But what I can tell you that the meeting had capable people who know what's happening in the world, people who have the interests of Liberia. Your summer post, I said good news. The last time that I did for Liberia. So we had capable people in our meeting. Everything you guys will talk about, I believe they know exactly what to say. I'm not in liberty to discuss the meeting, or I'm not authorized to do that. But what I can say is speculation from the naysayer, those who don't mean good for Liberia. Wrong. They're 1,000% wrong. They're far away from the truth. It was just an evil statement by some of them. But I can tell you, the meeting had capable people, bright people, people who uh, know what it takes for Liberia to be strong. So that I can tell you in that meeting. But
Okay.
but stay tuned.
Okay, great. Tomlin George, and then Peabody will come in. A couple of things. We heard a few weeks ago, there was something again, courtesy of Front Page Africa. President Weah, I think, announced. No, he actually said it in his State of the Nation address when he announced that Liberia should be up for a non-voting member seat on the UN Security Council. Jackie just talked about the fact that Africa is in a very strategic position now to be able to start to make some of these demands. Heck, I think Africa should push for a permanent seat on the UN Security Council, and that seat should come from out of the AU process where countries take turns, right? Because there's now one African country. What do you think? Again, like I said, what should Liberia be pushing at this stage? Take us in that room, Tomlin. President Weah is sitting in that room. Say this, because again, we are all speculating. We don't know what was discussed in that room. But like Jackie said, you can't take it from the fact that what this general talked about was not brought up. What do you think we should be pushing at this stage?
Well, first of all, let me say this. Let's don't forget we witnessed the Biden African summit with African leaders. The first thing that happened, we saw that happening. We saw the Biden Secretary of Treasury, Janet Yellen. She visited Africa. The First Lady visited Africa, Jill Biden, and now the Vice President is presently in Africa now. And I think President Biden will also be making African trip soon again, very soon too. So we realize that the U.S. involvement in Africa is getting to be more visible. I mean, when I say visible, that means they are being, like the last administration completely ignored Africa, but then they are getting more involved. Now, Liberia is, first of all, let's not forget, when they do the African summit, President Biden met specific African leaders that was having election this year, and he stressed the importance of the election to be transparent and free and fair. Now, then we see the CIA boss come to Liberia. From there, the president is invited. As I said earlier, it's very rare. I was just texting a national security expert who be involved with this stuff and asking them about this thing, what happened, and the person used the word, it's very rare that you see a sitting president being invited to the CIA headquarters. But they say a lot of things can be played into it. But like Jackie said, we should not forget there's something about American national security interests that were discussed. I'm very sure they won't just invite you to the headquarters for nothing. Something concerning the national security interest of the U.S. when they were discussed in the discussions, and moreover too, perhaps the issue they have with Liberian government, we are government. I'm sure they raised it in that meeting, and then issues they're having, and then issues they have that they feel that should be raised. They raise it with the we are delegation, but like I said, to invite the president's cabinet, the national security cabinet, to come to the CIA headquarters. That's a spy agency. So we shouldn't just overlook it and feel just a regular or sightseeing visit or tour. There was national security discussions held that centers around U.S. security interests and also Liberia involvement. So until we administration can give a little discussion about it, some opinion about what we discussed, we will continue to speculate and believe that there were national security interests concerning the U.S. that were discussing in this meeting.
Thank you, Tommy. I think that was very profound. Dr. Peabody, I want you to come in here with just piggyback on what we all have said here. Is this one of those rare moments? Let me put it this way: is this President Weah's Samuel Doe's moment, right? Because there was Samuel Doe had his moment, right, where you saw the moment where Samuel Doe almost punched or fought Muammar Gaddafi at the AU summit. You saw him clearly state, listen, if our President Weah said it in his State of the Nation address, he went off text. I don't believe it was in the text when he said when he quoted what Anthony Blinken said in introducing him, and then he said, it is true. Because if you are America's enemy, you are Liberia's enemy. Is this our moment? And how do we leverage this moment to be able to see some dividends and some tangibles? Because that is one of the major contention when it comes to US-Liberia relationship, is that many Liberians say, we don't have a lot to point to say, oh, you know what, we know America's number one ally for all these years, but we don't have a lot to point to say, this is what we got from America. So is this Liberia's moment? And what do you think the WIA administration should be doing to be able to leverage and take advantage of the opportunity that has been presented here?
Firstly, Ben, I believe in the past, we were considered America not a, Liberia was not a key, there was no major American investment in Liberia. There was no major interest in Liberia. We saw in the past, even from American diplomats that were in Liberia, during our Civil War, when we wanted America to come in and take over America, they said there was they didn't have no real key interest in Liberia at the time. But now we saw President Weah visit to the Biden African Summit. We saw him with Secretary of State Blinken. Then we see this major invite to the United States of America, to the CIA headquarters. I think it's an opportunity. Are we coming back to the days of William R. Tolbert or Samuel Doe or World War II? Are we coming back to the days where we're going to have this major security presence of the United States? Are we coming? I think all in all, it appears to me as a very good movement now that our partners, the Americans, can see us as having that vested interest in our country, especially when it comes to the security with China and Russia movement in the region. But I think what Liberia should be doing now is to take advantage of some of the opportunity that this could bring for them. President Weah, the people of Liberia should not be going to America. Hey, man, this is what I come up with, a tangible plan, very good plan that, hey, this is what we're doing for you. This is what you want us to do, but this is what the people of Liberia want. Not in the past, where when the Americans left, Liberia went completely down. Everything went down to bottom. So now they should come up with a plan. One of those ways that we can begin by ensuring that America will see as that key partner is our election, ensuring that there's a free and fair election. Ensuring that we work with them to increase our partnership on certain level, the human rights. We saw the human rights report and all of that. But I think this is a good start for Liberia. I don't know what all was disclosed in that meeting, but I sure the American interests were very important. As Jackie put it out there, it was very important. It was very strategic. But I see it too as an opportunity, something that will come to Liberia and benefit Liberia as well. So we should be coming up with a plan as we work the Americans on how we can implement all of this that they have proposed. But we should be coming up with a plan and say, hey, this is what we want, so that when you come in, when you take over, our citizen will have something to benefit from.
Thank you, Dr. Peabody. I do want to come in. Jackie, I'm coming to you next. I do want to state here, again, welcome to our viewers. We're having a very fascinating conversation about President Weah's visit to Washington, D.C., the famous visit to Langley, Virginia. Many Liberians, Langley is in Virginia. That's where the CIA headquarters is. We are live on Hott FM, so we want to say thank you to our partners there at Hott FM. Thank you to KMTV, our partner here producing our show. We want to reiterate again that this is the second edition. This thing is going to get better as we move forward. But we do want to welcome all of our viewers and we want to thank you and continue to encourage you to share the show. Jackie, come in a little bit. Let's look at it this way, right? You struck a lot of points, and I fully agree with what you were talking about. But let's now peel the onion back a little. President Weah and his government at this point, we've seen an increase in U.S. engagement when it comes to Liberia. It is obvious, it's clear. The magnitude, the amount of engagement that we've seen, I'm hearing 200 plus observers from NDI, from USAID, from all of these democracy related organizations. President Biden, polling president, we are on the sidelines of the US Africa Summit, making him a part of that group of African leaders that talked about the importance of free and fair election. How do you think? Let's pivot into this proposed command center. Let's just speak and say what Front Page Africa reported is what's going to happen. How do you think Liberia is going to benefit from a proposed U.S. command center? What do you think is going to happen, and what do you think what do you think would be the intricacies and all the different notes and bolts that will have to be put together for that to become a reality?
Well, Africa, they always in and out of Liberia. I mean, I met some of their members during Ebola. They were there. What we need to do with Africa, if this is the case, like I said, the government has not released a statement, and hopefully sometime in the near future they will. The Africa Command Center, I believe there may have been some, and I'm not sure, don't quote, I stand to be corrected, some initial discussions that may have even been held under Obama administration. When Trump took over, of course, Africa pretty much was kind of abandoned. That leaves 4 years of China and Russia to even do more what they needed to do in Africa.
Yeah.
And with the, like I said, this Ukraine, there are two things that has waking up the West. Is the COVID that disrupted our global supply chain, because you have most of the products, goods, and services that supply to the world come from China. And then there's Ukraine war. Okay, those two things have waken up the West. If they were not up before, they are awake now. There has been an advocacy for years now, at least 10 to 15 years, for the West to change its policy, its global policy. That no longer with Russia and China inching closer and closer. Russia before used to be the second most powerful country, and now China has taken over in terms of its economic power and what have you. With Russia and China inching so very close to the United States as the global leader, this is cause for concern. And so, like you said, America's need to keep its eye on key strategic places and partnership, and reestablish that partnership with its allies in Africa, particularly even Liberia. When you come to Liberia, so for them to build a new command center, if that's the case, let us not forget that I think World War I or II, where the Americans extended our runway for them to bring the military planes and what have you and stuff like that. So for them to do more constructions during Ebola, I must add, during Ebola, when we're trying to decide what to do with some of the funding that was given to Liberia, we met with the Department of Defense. And I remember clearly, some of the people, some of the officers, they told us, well, Congress, the United States Congress, there is no act that allows DOD to build, the U.S. government, not necessarily DOD, to actually build an infrastructure like a building. You had China that's coming forward saying, well, we're going to build this, we're going to build that. So we engaged them and they said, well, we can do that. But eventually from these negotiations, of course, you see the construction now of the National Public Health Institute and stuff like that. So a lot of people are looking at China and say, what was China's strategy in Africa? To build infrastructures. America's strategy from day one is to provide funding, either directly, and most of its funding is done indirectly. America still remains the #1 donor today in the world, even in Africa. A lot of people can see that because America sends its funding through different sources. Even the African Development Bank America sends a lot of money there, a lot of funding there. The UN, America still remains the number one donor today. But then now people in Africa are saying, well, we see China building this, China building that. And that loyalty from the people, not necessarily the government, from the people and citizens of Africa, they're like, well, let China come in. Let China come in. And that's how come China is having an edge over America today in Africa. And let's not forget, even the Middle East is making its presence more and more, the UAE, throughout Africa. If you can recall, Liberia made history again 2017, right before the election. So we had the ECOWAS summit. The Israeli prime minister,
yes,
Kim, was our guest speaker for that event and came to Liberia. Why? Because they felt a need to reestablish relationship with the West. Prior to that, Israel started to focus on East Africa. And then Israel said, no, well, we need to move on to West Africa as well. And that's why Israel had its presence right there at our summit, at the ECOWAS summit in 2017.
Yeah. Thank you, Jackie. And listen, there's a lot. Yeah, Tommy, come in.
Yeah, but let me just, as we talk about this visit and so forth, okay, I just want to throw this out there. Maybe we can just close on this discussion, perhaps. There's something I noticed called BRICS, and that is the
Brazil,
Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, right? And I mean, as we go forward, it's saying there's the new world order, right? And the key is to have to launch their own currency and really take over certain part of the world. I think Uganda is thinking about joining that group too. But I don't know. Perhaps people will say it's a normal routine, but with the United States, she changed of ambassador. They're bringing a military background guy as ambassador. I don't know what was the implication about that, but with that, and then with this BRICS group, as I said, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, they're trying to dominate Africa. I mean, a lot of things we started to wonder what's happening. What's going on, because don't forget, there's no secret. Russia and China, they are getting involved in Africa. They're even having their own African summit and all.
Yeah.
Russia had one in 2020, I think. No, 2019. They had one in 2019, the Africa-Russia summit.
Yeah.
I think V.B. Taylor represented there.
Yeah, but let me ask. So how does this, because let's be honest, and I want us to be practical here, right? I think so far, the two presidents that I have seen in recent memory, one recent, one far, William V.S. Tubman and Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the two of them, I've seen them navigate. I saw them, the country saw them navigate these geopolitical waters. They did. Ellen was able to get a lot from China, a lot. I mean, even some of the things that you see in Liberia today, right? Ministerial complex, all of these things. President Sirleaf was able to get a lot from China, but she was also able to play a very, very important role to the point of addressing a joint session of the U.S. Congress. Charles Taylor, there's an interview out there with President Charles Taylor. Mr. Taylor, if you were to do anything else, if you're looking back where you are right now, what's the one thing that you will probably want to change?
Make it right with the U.S.
The relationship with Washington, D.C.
Yes.
Because it is absolutely important for any Liberian president to succeed. He or she has to be in tune with Washington. So do you think President Weah is in a catch-22 situation here? Because President Weah has reaffirmed, right? He has reaffirmed Liberia's stance on its one China policy. But it is not a secret. You can see that China has slowed down when it comes to Liberia. You can clearly see it. Yeah. Most of the projects, you can clearly see that there is a little bit of drop in the temperature. And then you have the US. That's why I asked the question, what what should President Weah, how is this play going to go? What is he going to be able to leverage to be able to get something out of this? Because for a president to stand on the podium at his State of the Nation and say America's enemy is Liberia enemy, that's bold.
Yeah, but Ben,
okay, but we saw President do that at the AU summit somewhere in one of those African countries when he challenged Libya. You know, that if they stand against America. In fact, he said that if anybody going to talk against the United States, President Dose are going to roll up his sleeves to point in or do something. You know, I think President we are just reaffirmed that our relationship with the United States of America.
But what benefit? So that's the question with Tommy. You can come in. What is how does President leverage this?
No,
how?
What I'm going to see?
How do we benefit?
Yes, how I'm going to see it.
Okay. How do we go beyond visit? That's the question. Okay. How do we go beyond
right now? For any president seeking re-election, this year is almost like a lame dog for the president right now. There's nothing much president can really do right now. But let us see in the next few weeks what president what will be the utterances, what will be about, and we'll see any major change in his administration, and we're gonna see where he's gonna visit or who he's gonna send as envoy to certain countries. We're going to be watching all of these things we're watching right now. We're going to see what will be the government policy, the foreign policy on certain issues, right? What will be the role that they'll be playing when it comes to the issue at the United Nations? What will be the position of Liberia? I know Liberia voted recently to pass a resolution against Russia, condemning them for the aggression in Ukraine. But we're going to see the president watch his utterance. I mean, he's not a guy who usually will speak to the press or talk a lot. But I'm very key. That's why the press conference at the airport yesterday, he didn't say much, and I thought he would have at least give little stuff, but then he switched to the climate change and so forth. But I'll be watching his utterances in the next few days and weeks, and also people in his administration to see what they will be saying, and also what visits they will be paying, where they will be going in recent time, or any changes that he'll make in his government. We're watching to see what happens. What's happening?
Jackie, I want Kev to come in a little bit, and then you can probably take us home, because we're going to be at the half mark of the hour. We will be pivoting to our next discussion, which is the VP picks, the potential VP picks for the opposition, the top tier opposition candidates. But Kev Hassan, I want you to come in here. Dividends. I keep going back to that word, dividends. It's okay to do these visits. It's okay to do these photo ops. It's okay to meet at Langley. It's okay to take a selfie with President Joe Biden. It's okay to do all of those things, because you know what? Listen, say what you want to say, give President Weah credit. His opposition for the first 3 or 4 years of his government said he was never coming to Washington, D.C. He was never going to meet the U.S. president. Then that happened, right? So give all of that. But the time has come now for us to see some meat on the bones. How can your president, how can the president of Liberia leverage all of this? And like Jackie said, we are now in a very strategic position. Burkina Faso is virtually gone to the Russians. Mali, all these countries around us, you know. I saw a news today. Tommy, I think you told me today, right? America provided some funding to Guinea. And Guinea has a military government.
And that's the irony, though. It's an undemocratic.
Irony. You have a military government, right?
I would give money to Guinea.
How do we leverage this? How do we leverage it?
Well, I said this from my openings. We have capable people in this government. The meeting had capable people who know where we stand, where we're coming from, our strengths, our weakness. So I keep saying this because it's a little tight right here, but you know, people need to stay tuned. I keep using this word because I cannot.
Okay, so are you saying there is something in the pipeline that the government is not ready to let out? Is that what you're saying? Because you keep saying stay tuned.
What I'm saying, if I was on the side of the opposition, I would be having sleepless nights. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying 7 months to election. 7 months to election. I don't want to go deep into that, but if I were part of the opposition, because we are looking at somebody used the word lame duck. We're looking at this time that no government in the world will talk to anybody. They'll just leave it. So we want to election, let the people decide. But this happened, I will be worried. For what I know, because I was in DC, I will be worried. If I was on the opposition side, I would extremely be worried. And I know some folks who do have a DC connection are worried. Some folks who do know how this thing happened, who know things, who know about certain things, who do have insider, they are worried. I can tell you this for a fact. They are worried. Because 7 months to election, that's all I can say. I cannot go more, too deep, but they should be worried, because I was in DC and I'm saying this. They should be worried.
Thank you, Kev. Jackie, you want to? And we have a few minutes before we go to the second segment. We will be taking a break at the half mark of our show. This is something we do here to give everybody a chance to take a breath of fresh air, take a glass of water, and then we come back, because we will be coming back to discuss some politics, right? So Jackie, I want you to take us home with this, and take us home in a way that leave our audience and the Liberian people who are listening via the radio, leave them with what is possible, what is not possible, what are some of the expectations, and how can we leverage this strategic position that, according to you, that we now find ourselves in? How can we leverage it?
Well, Kev, when you say the opposition should be worried, we need to come back to that after we take that break, so I can find out what you mean by that in details. But to answer your question, America's national security interest, Liberia's national security interest. So if, as a government, how can the U.S. also protect Liberia's national security interest, strengthen it? We have challenges right now with technology. How can you, right now we are in the information age. Liberia is far behind when it comes to information communication and technology, even at the NSA level. So the tools and the resources that are required, even for us to help America in terms of his national security interests, well, we need assistance on that part as well. Liberia right now is vulnerable on many in many respects. We see a lot of things even domestically that are going on that we can't even solve. We don't even have a good forensic lab. Our borders are porous, is vulnerable. It allows for anybody to just walk in there. Even our passport system 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we had issues with our passport. We have issues today. Our passports are being issued, and there have been, even the president called for investigation with the passports. The passports have landed in certain individuals' hands. What can we do about it? That's a national security risk, and even a risk to the United States of America, because you don't know who's receiving these passports. These are things where we need to strengthen our systems in Liberia. We need help from the U.S. government for them to help us with the information community communication technology stage, and that will even help our students. That will help us, on the domestic, nationwide with these things in Liberia. So my answer to that is, if you want us to help you protect your national security interests, help us protect our national security interests where we are vulnerable right now. And also, let me go for Liberia. We have laws, we have policies. You have the governance commission. Come on, Liberia, we also need to look at our policies. What is good governance? We cannot even help the United States of America even if we ask them for help without us putting certain things in place and implement these policies and good governance accordingly. And I can bet you that as America discuss that in their interest in language, they'll also look at Liberia and say, look, Liberia, you need to do this. You are weak on this, you are weak in this, you are weak in that. You need to make sure, because you guys already have the policies on the books, you have governance commission on there. You need to make sure that you put these things in check, because with all these things being in check, you will not be able to implement or carry out what we are discussing here. And in return, I'm like, okay, we're going to do it going forward, but we have a deficit. We need your help so that you can help us help you.
Thank
on
you,
so
Jack.
many
They're
levels.
not doing it right now. The American not involved. They are training the National Army. They are involved in NSA. They're not doing that right now.
I know that we do have our army that have been members of the armed force coming to the United States, receiving training and what have you, but more can be done. Look at Shefflin. Have you visited Shefflin? You see where these people live? Our military hospital. Who built the military hospital? There is a struggle between what China wants, even China, our lab, the reference lab and stuff like that, the military lab and stuff. China is saying, I am going to do this, but where is America? Where is the United States of America stepping in and say, no, we are going to do this? There have been conflicts, a struggle between what China is telling Liberia that it wants to do and what America is saying, no, Liberia, you wait and let us do it. But when will America do these things? And how is America doing these things? And how is it channeling the funding? And in respect of that, and that's what the United States ambassador has been tight on Liberia when it comes to dealing with this corruption, because you cannot have the United States invest. You see, China doesn't even care about politics, because right now they are closely competing with the United States of America, so they're not going to get involved in politics directly right now. But indirectly, they are involved in our politics. Nobody should make mistake about that. They are. It's just that on the forefront, they're not coming to say like the way America does. So we have to put our ducks in order as well. And that's what the United States ambassador, because there is no way the United States ambassador can continue, or the United States can continue to say through you said, or whatever means, or through the World Bank. United States is the #1 donor for the World Bank. You got a World Bank headquarters right here in DC. So if the United States government said we're going to give Liberia this, well, what are we doing with the resources that we are getting from our closest, from our mother country, United States of America? And that's why America has been so on our tail and said, look, you need to deal with this corruption issue, because if we give you $1, what are you doing with that dollar?
Jackie,
see.
I think you're on point. Listen, we're right at the halfway mark. A little over the halfway mark.
You nailed that. That was good.
I think that was good. I agree with you. I think there's a lot of soul searching that has to happen here. There's a lot of onion peeling that needs to happen here. There's a lot of tough questions that needs to happen, because whether you like it or not, America is not going to. I don't believe they're going to, overlook their morals, their values, their norms, the things that are the cornerstone of their foreign policy. They're not going to do that. They may bend it a little. They may bend it a little if their interest comes in collusion. Mm-hmm. If you see America probably giving some money to Guinea, where there's a military government, they are probably concerned that maybe the Guineans may be looking towards the Russians. Maybe the Guineans may be looking too close towards the Chinese. So you were spot on. So there is a carrot and stick approach going on here. And I agree with you, Jackie, that when you see that, because I also saw the U.S. ambassador say, by the way, there's a new ambassador that has been appointed. But, I saw some people making noise. Oh, the ambassador going. No, he's not going yet. Trust me. The process to get to, when the U.S. president makes a nomination, it's not a Liberia. It's not a Liberia where by the time they made a nomination, they send it to the Senate, they have one day discussion, they pass the policy. It's a rigorous process. That ambassador has to go to confirmation, and days of confirmation, by the way, because there's a long list, there's a long line that he has to wait for. So guess what, guys? Michael McCarthy is still in Liberia, at least for a few more months. He is still going to be there. And so I agree with you 100% that there's a carrot and stick approach here. As we are expecting to leverage from this relationship, but it's also incumbent upon us as a country and us as a government to be able to utilize the people resources that they are giving us and to strengthen the institutions that are already in place so that our country can be able to benefit and see the dividends. But Kev Hassan said that we should stay tuned. Maybe there's something he knows that we don't know. So we're going to stay tuned. But let me say this, and this was a fascinating first half. We will turn the studio, just get ready. We're going to take probably like a 1 minute break. When we get back, guys, we're going to be x-raying the potential VP picks one by one. The names that have been floating out there, one by one. VP picks for Joe Boyka, VP pick for Alex Cummings. The other candidates, we're still yet to know where they may be leaning, but that's what we're going to be doing. But I thought it was an amazing first half of discussion. And Jackie, I think you gave us a lot to chew on. And I think this is a conversation that we're going to continue to have as we see the moving parts starts to move when it comes to U.S.-Liberia relations. Studio, you can go ahead and take it over, and we'll be right back.
Let your celebration begin with Park Liquor Outlet, your first Liberian-owned liquor store in the city of Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. We have everything that you need to set that special occasion or bride. For your next party or great get-together with friends, visit Park Liquor Outlet. We have great selection of beer, wine, gin, and many more at affordable prices. Our customer service will make you always want to come back. We are open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Park Liquor Outlet, your one-stop celebration store. We are located at 6315 Zine Avenue North, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Visit us today and feel the difference.
Thank you, guys, and it's good to be back. Thank you. I think it was a great first half. We, again, like
Fabulous.
I said, we can't. This America discussion is a very important one. They are our traditional ally. They are our oldest ally. There's a give and take here, and we can only hope for the better for our country. But having said that, politics, guys, we're gonna dive into some politics here. Talk about these potential VP picks, the possibility of who is going to be the next vice president of Liberia. Is Joe Howard Taylor going to stay as vice president for the next 6 years, or one of these names going to be replacing her? Will she be having a transition meeting? As Joe Boyka had a transition meeting with her in 2017. Will she be having a transition meeting, or with one of these names? And we have a few of them here. And the uniqueness about this is that these names are fluctuating. Some of them, at least, are fluctuating between Alex Cummings and VP Boyka, right? So you have Senator Yomli Kanga Lawrence, who for the longest, I think it's fair to say, was in a very front row and a front runner position especially when it came to VP Joe Buckeye. And then something happened, like politics. You know, politics. It's not static. It's dynamics. It's always moving. And then you saw the emergence of Jeremiah Cohn. Obviously, you have Prince Moyi, all these other names, but they never really gained traction when you came to it, right? And then you saw Jeremiah Cohn come into the play because of the breakup between Kef Hassan CDC and the MDR. It was a big breakup. And so Jeremiah Cohn and Senator Prince Johnson decided that they were going to go and cast their fishing net within the opposition community. And then you also, we've been seeing of late, Tomlin threw a name out here, I think on Monday, that people are not paying attention to. And I think we should include him in this conversation. Samuel Kofi Woods. I understand that Samuel Kofi Woods may be playing the role of Dick Cheney in this conversation. Dick Cheney. If people know the story of Dick Cheney, and quickly before you come in, Dick Cheney was tasked with the responsibility to find George W. Bush running mate. And he kept bringing everybody to George W. Bush, bringing everybody. And George W. Bush kept rejecting all of them. And then what happened? George W. Bush looked at Dick Cheney and said to him, but Dick, what about you? Maybe you should do this. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that there may be Samuel Kofi Woods may just be playing Dick Cheney here for Joe Buckeye. And then obviously the name that has come on the block, the hottest of late, Henry Pedro Costa, out of nowhere, right? One of the strongest supporters, one of the most fierce generals in Joseph Buckeye's army, catapults from behind and runs in front. And guess what? He didn't stop there, guys. He went and confirmed on his radio show that he is seriously being considered. I'm telling you guys, Joseph Yoman Buckeye, I don't want to be in his position right now. I don't know about y'all. Let's start with JMB right now. We'll go to Mr. Cummings. But listen, I don't want to be Joseph Buckeye right now because I am of the conviction that whatever decision Joe Buckeye makes, his coalition may fracture. Whatever decision he makes, whoever he picks at this time, and it will take that person who he will pick to be a unifier and a glue that will be able to see if they can patch the coalition back together. Let's do this. Let's have a very frank conversation, and let's take it one step at a time. Tomlin Yanwolo George. Let's speak about the names that I called to you. Samuel Kofi Woods, Yombli Kanga Lawrence. Maybe let's start one at a time. Yombli Kanga Lawrence. Plus minuses. How does she fall from grace?
You know what happened? One of the good things about being in this position that we are in, you get to talk to all the major players. All of us here have access to all the major players that are involved right now. So, but for certain reasons, I won't call the names of those we've been talking to because they didn't want to. Because right now, if you call one of their name, they're going to say you're going to jeopardize the chances of being selected or so. But those we have spoken to, they're telling you this right now. I know 2% told me, Mr. Tomlin, right now we are at a pause. We are watching Joseph Buckeye. We want to see what will be his next move. He said right now, Buckeye is this person we are watching. Depending on who he selects as his running mate, we'll form our decision. Either we're gonna support that ticket or we're gonna go our own way or go to the other candidate or so forth. But right now, we are all set and watching Joseph Buckeye. That's why you said, Ben, you won't be in his shoes right now. Because don't forget, the last time I checked, last week when I was speaking to some of them, Kofi Woods, and I just found out that Kofi Woods, he and Buckeye had to come a long way from the days of some advocacy group they were both for him before. And I heard that he one of the closest confidant of JMB. And then you got Senator Lawrence, but I heard recently last few days that her name was fading away. Then I heard about Senator Kuhn. Then I heard about my brother Costa. And now many people don't know. Right now, there are a lot of trips being made. People are now heading to Liberia, Accra, Ghana, and Liberia now. And like when we will be going next week, we'll see what will happen in the coming weeks, coming days in Liberia. But watch out what's going to happen in Ghana and Liberia in the coming weeks, because decisions about to be made, because the former vice president, he's at a very, very tough position right now, because all these people we're talking about, especially for Yombly, for Costa, Kofi Woods, they are being loyal to him. They are being with him all along. From the CPP, they all went from there and stood with him. And then with Kun, you know, he's a hustle name now in Nima and in Liberia. There's a guy who crossed counties, like in the southeast, where I think his dad is from Maryland and his mom from Nima. And besides that, he's a hustle name. So right now, most people tell you that the pathway to the Liberian presidency is through Nima County. And President Weah, come to the CDC. You have witnessed the CDC Secretary General, Koji, they've been making a lot of trips to Nima. And then you got also on the other side of the ability, they're all being Nima. But I was talking about the VP right now, Kofi Woods, I don't know. At the end of the day, whether after he they do all the interview, whether he was a little JMB, I think I'm the best guy for this job. I think I will do the job. Or whether JMB will say, well, I would take Kun, I would take Costa, or whatever the case. But it's a tough spot right now. But I can say by the next 2 weeks, we'll be close to know exactly who will be the VP running mate. We'll be close.
Thank you, Jackie. Jackie, I want to come to you. You are a member of the Unity Party. You are a member of the JMB TAC team. You're a strong supporter of Vice President Joe Buckeye. Like I said, and by the way, let me state this, right? It is said that the first most important decision a president or a potential president can make is who he or she picks to be the vice president. Because, you know, in this country, what do they say, Jackie? They say in this country, the first TOR of that job is, can that person be president on day one? Just in case something happens. Anything can happen, you never know. Talk to us about where your candidate is. What's his mind? What is his thought process? All of these names that are coming, I want you to talk to us about that.
Okay. Like I said on Monday, the vice president is a heartbeat away from the presidency. So whosoever is picked has to be ready from day one to lead a country just in case the president is unable or incapacitated to do so. Having said that, Ben, I will echo what you said. I do not want to be in VP boycott shoe at this point. There are a whole lot of negotiations and talks going on, you know, so it's very tough. You know, he takes this decision very, very seriously. Like I said, given the dynamics, the political dynamics in the country right now, what mattered 5 years ago is not necessarily what matters today in terms of the priorities for the Liberian people. So he's taking all of that into consideration. Yes, all the candidates that were all the names that were listed a few minutes ago here on the show, those are people who are involved in the process. And definitely he's going to make his decision. You know, he needs somebody who he can trust. There has to be loyalty there, a very good relationship between the vice president and the president. And also, as the VP said, he needs somebody who is knowledgeable, who understands the issues, who understands the cries today of the Liberian people, not the cry from 10 years ago, but today, the issues that really matter to the Liberian people, which mainly, you know, issues like the economy, you know, the economic status of the citizens, national security is also an issue for the Liberian people. You have people today who are afraid to go out late at night. A lot of people who have their markets, their businesses during the night, whether you have these drinking spots or the market, women and men who sell food late at night, because commerce is something for a country to thrive. You must have commerce 24 hours running around the clock, some type of commerce. And the night commerce activity has reduced a lot in the country, particularly in Montserrat County, because of fear, security risk. You have the issue with freedom of speech. Are people able to really speak freely in the country. People lives economically. I remember speaking to a driver who was a seditious, who is a seditious, and he told me, he said, and this guy was 24, 25 years old, and he told me, he said, his daughter, he had his daughter in a fairly decent school prior to 2017, and there he was in 2020. He had to take his daughter out of school. In fact, he said in 2019, he had to take his daughter out of the school that she was in and put her in a school that is not even nearly as good as where his daughter was before, simply because he could no longer afford for his child to go to that school. You have the harmonization policy that was implemented and passed into law in 2019.
Oh, I think we lost Jackie.
Sorry.
Oh,
The harmonization policy that was implemented where salaries were slashed across the board. People who were able to give out tuition, to pay people tuition in the communities, their family members and stuff. People who were able to hire help, maybe more than one domestic help at home. Now people found themselves, this government is the largest employer in the country. Everybody knows that. So if you have people's salary being affected and negatively impacted, there's a trickle down economics that will take place within the country. That individual will no longer be able to go to the market and buy as many things as they used to buy, including food, clothing was impacted. You saw the wheelbarrow boy, women and men slowly disappear in the public because the number of wheelbarrow sellers slowly started to disappear. Market women today, a lot of them, the amount of goods they used to sell at the end of the day, the food going rotten. Farmers, they grow their crops. So across the board, I know some of the excuse has been COVID, but prior to even COVID, these things were happening in the country. So coming back to JMB and his selection, understanding the situation that's going on today in the country, he really needs somebody who will be able to support him.
So Jackie, of those names that we called, who can you give us in a short, in maybe a minute or so, because we may be short on time. In the things that you call, all of the things that you just talked about, where are the strengths? I mean, Yumli, Kuhn, Costa.
It's clear that Senator Lawrence, she's been senator for a long time. She understands the issue. She has been right there by JMB's side for the last several years. The ALP party, they've also been there by JNB. But of course, when you look at Senator Lawrence, her qualifications versus Henry Petro Costa qualifications, they are different. She, of course, has public service experience. Costa has been an advocate out there. In Liberia, we saw the protest, the COP. He's a leader for the COP and what have you. And of course, Senator Kuhn, he's been in the legislature for a while. He was also, when he was in the House of Representatives, head on the Ways and Means Committee. So he understands the budget, finances, and also he's been in the private sector where he's a businessman. So he understands commerce.
So Jackie,
that's his strength.
You're doing the Unity Party thing, and I know you guys do this very well. You're not trying to make anybody feel bad, but let me tell you the bad news here. Somebody's going to feel bad. That's the truth. One of them will feel bad. Somebody alone. He's going to pick somebody. He's going to. So
what's the question for me?
So the question I ask you, I mean, you are Unity partisan. What ticket would Jackie want? What would you want to see? That's your party.
What ticket will I want to see? I would want to see a ticket where, first of all, I cannot make a decision for JMB. He has to make that decision. People spoke in 2019. Initially, they wanted JMB and Cummings ticket.
Yeah.
It is not likely going to happen as far as we can see right now. So those other names, hey, JMB in the end will make the best decision for the Liberian people.
And I hear you, Jackie. You're leaving it up to JMB. I think that's the best answer you can give. I think it's his decision. I think it's totally unfair to people who tend to pressure him. I think they should give him the chance to ultimately make that decision. Kev Hassan, before Dr. Peabody, I beg you, I want Kev to come in. I feel like Kev has a monkey wrench to throw into this conversation. So I want to bring Kev in, and then Dr. Peabody, you can kind of mellow things off before we head into our crossfire session. Kev Hassan, what is first of all, you guys are having it seems like you guys are sitting on a couch with your feet up.
Listen to
what happens.
Listen to Jackie explaining the situation in Liberia. I said to myself, maybe Liberia was just like America when
you want to keep it for crossfire. Let's talk about the VP pick.
Yeah, I just want to just
keep it for crossfire because I knew that's where you were coming. Keep it for crossfire. I'm like, and let's talk about the VP picks because I want you and Jackie to go on that issue because I knew she threw a little jab at you with harmonization.
Yeah, Jackie in a different. Well, let me say this. You say it's a hard decision for JMB. He spent 12 years.
You didn't say it was a hard decision.
You say what?
You said it's a careful.
No,
you have to be careful.
You don't want to be. It's a difficult
don't even
decision.
throw words in our mouth.
It's a difficult decision.
Yeah, Jackie, let him finish with you and him will do crossfire. I'm pretty sure.
It's a difficult decision, and you also said, I don't want to be in that place of JMB yet. You said that. But Jackie, but Jackie, let me say this to you. Yeah. For 12 years as vice president of Liberia, you telling me that this man doesn't know who to pick, how vice president's supposed to. He doesn't know the character of a vice president, or he doesn't know how I would say he don't know who to pick. He can now look at Yombli Kanga, Costa, look at Kuhn and say, this person can be vice president. When Joe Biden sat on the stage, he had the debate after when I did with Camilla, they knew she was going to be the vice president. Everybody knew. Everybody knew. It was an easy decision. Barack for Joe Biden, easy decision. This man spent 12 years as a vice president. It's difficult for him. If picking the vice president is difficult for JMB, running the country will be easy for him. Somebody out there that's call me out, say you're wrong. Picking the vice president, difficult. You look at Yombli Kanga, Kuhn, Harry Costa, and you say, oh, this is difficult, I can't sleep. Well, it'll be easy for JMB. I think JMB is not up to the task. I think, and by 7 months to election, he's still in this space. He's still not sleeping. And as a member of the tag team, Jackie, you worried. You're there saying, oh, I don't want to be in this place. That's a sign of being worry. So worrisome sign that I don't want to be there. So how can this man lead Liberia with a difficult? He's saying this is difficult.
Thank you, Kev.
I can sit right here.
Can I respond?
No crossfire, I beg you. I want Dr. Peabody.
No, I want to respond to him real quick.
Jackie, I beg you. Jackie, just shut it down.
Doesn't know how to
Jackie, just shut it down. We're going to do crossfire. I want you to enjoy yourself. You're going to do crossfire. I want Dr. Peabody to come in.
He should know what it takes to be a vice president.
Then the movement will be gone, Ben.
Thank you.
Let me
Dr. Peabody, can you give Jackie 30 seconds?
Yeah,
30
I do
seconds.
that.
30 seconds, Jackie, please. We got to run.
So, Kev, here's the thing. We have qualified people that are there, that are on the short list. Yes, they come with different,
So
what?
as Biden, qualified
But
people.
let me tell you something. But
Yeah,
Kev,
but let's
check the
finish, man.
records. Check the records. Biden didn't make his decision the 3 months to election day. We got 7
But
months
we
to
knew
election.
where
So
you
what
were
are you
going.
talking about?
We knew.
Biden's decision
Everybody
was in
knew.
August.
Jackie, you can tell me the
You're
American
smart, so you
people.
have to lead the team for
So what are you
crossfire.
talking about?
We
There's
knew
plenty
what
of
Joe
time
Biden.
left.
Everybody knew what.
Look, listen.
All right, Kev.
Listen.
Kev.
All these people are qualified in their
this man
own
cannot
right
choose.
to
This man
become
cannot
a running
choose.
mate.
This man cannot
Kev,
choose.
Kev,
Every day.
you talking about 12 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, we didn't have harmonization problem. We didn't have the economic problem that we're having today. So you can't compare what happened 7, 8, 9 years ago. So the VP Boycott has said that he is making his decision based on the current realities today. He has well-qualified people on his short list right now. It's just a matter of making those final negotiations and discussions so that he can present his running. He got plenty of time because we got 7 months to election.
Thank you, guys.
But Obama didn't announce his running mate in 3 months to election. So what's your point?
So can we make the argument?
We all knew where they were going.
Dr. Peabody, I want you to
No,
come
you
in
didn't.
Here. Can we make the? I guess Kevin and Jackie will.
All right, let me say here.
I want you to come in here. Can we make the argument? And this will help you, Dr. Peabody, as you proceed. Can we make the argument that because there has been there's been this accusation against VP Boycott that he's one of the issues that people have said is that he's a little too slow to make decisions, right? He pushed it to almost to the line in 2017, and he picked Emmanuel Nukwe. And it was surprising. A lot of people did not expect him. But Kev,
for him.
A lot of people did not expect him to pick Emmanuel Nukwe. So
but he still met the deadline the last time.
No, he did. In all fairness. But
met the deadline.
Let me Dr. Peabody, let me say this. Let me ask you, what do you think VP Boycott should be looking for in his vice president, looking at the names that we just talked about? What do you think we should be looking for?
Well, we all know what it takes to be a vice president. You must find somebody who can unite the party, who can help you win an election, and also who can govern as well. And I think, as we all say here today, that the vice president is in a very, very difficult position at this time. But I think slow, but in taking his time. I think it's not a rush thing. You got names here that are very good candidate. You talk about Henry Pedro Costa. You talk about Yomi Kanga Lawrence. You talk about Senator Cohn. These are all great people that you really have to sit and vet and see if these people can actually govern, or if the people can actually unite the party and all of that. So it's not a rush thing. It may take, but I think for me, I think that the vice president is on the right track. How he's proceeding, he's taking his time. He's having consultation. He's going back and looking and seeing whether the person I bring can really lead the country, whether it can unite the party. Let's look at some of the records for these folks in their own political party. Have they united the party? Have they kept the party together? So you got to look at all those things that is involved here today. You know, you're not going to just jump and say, "Hey, I'm going to throw somebody's names out there." But look at the long list. Cohn, have Cohn. What role have Cohn played in his party? What role have Yomi played? Have you united her party? You know, Costa kept the CPP. What's the name of that group? I can't say my memory.
The COP.
The COP going and all of that. These are great candidates. I mean, so all of them, I believe, can be great vice president. But the fact is, the vice president must take his time in actually vetting. There's a very difficult decision.
We're going to go one more round. We're going to go one more round around with this. And I'm going to ask Tomlin this question. This is I beg you, let's stick to this. Tomlin, what is the risk obviously, let's talk about Costa for a bit, right? Let's talk about Costa. Costa, like I said, came out of nowhere. We woke up one morning and there was this thing about Costa. Nobody was talking about Costa. It was always Yombly and others. That's what it was. Let's be fair. It was always Yombly and the rest. The only person that kind of threatened Yombly's position when it came to the conversation with JMB was a potential possibility of Cummings and Boyka coming together. Outside of that, a lot of the conversation was centered around Senator Yombly Kangalor. A lot of the conversation was centered around Senator Yombly Kangalor. Let's talk about Costa. What do you think happened here? Where did he come from? And is he viable? Is this real? Dominic.
Well, with Costa, right? There's no secret. Costa have been one of the most loyal supporter of the Boyka since the CPP days, and she's been supporting him and doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes that many people don't know. But when, like somebody said, this vice president is a hobby from the presidency. So when they realize there's an opening that whoever believes that can be Joe Boyka's running mate, that person is a potential future president. Maybe after a first term at Boyka, if he wins the election, or what other thing may happen, or so forth. So the person says, "Advantage, it's an opportunity for me to take a shot and try my popularity and see." But he appears within the GMB camp.
So let me ask you another question: does Costa deserve to be in this conversation? Does he deserve it?
I mean, personally, for Costa believes he deserves to be in the conversation for the work he think he has done and the position he found himself in the country. But there are a lot of arguments out there. People will say, well, you have no record of public service or whatever the case that his critics are saying. For the critics, he has a record of public service, and then they also reference his election in Monserrado County in 2017 to resolve his election and so forth. But Costa believes that those years have passed, and he think he's in a position that he can bring the votes on. But that's the argument amongst the group that supports Boyka, that believe that it's a gamble to take with him, be a gamble to take him on or so forth. So right now, as we all saying, it all left with JMB make the final call. Because will he try a Costa, or will he prove he's a gamble to take a Costa? Maybe he'll have a backlash. They don't know whether his support base will turn to Cummings or turn to Weah. They don't know. So right now, that's the argument. But I think Costa don't work hard and think being in a conversation is. I don't think that people can say, well, he cannot surface.
Jackie, Henry Costa, right? Henry Costa. I mean, obviously, you can't take it away from Henry Costa, the biggest voice that trumpeted Joseph Newman Boyka. And listen, I say it all the time. Many members of your party don't like to hear this, but I believe let me not cause more trouble. Let me say this. I believe that after the 2017 election, let's be honest, the Unity Party was virtually in coma. You were not dead. You were in coma. I mean, you were reeling from such a very, very difficult defeat, losing 14 out of 15 counties. President Weah was riding high, right? And then you saw the emergence of the CPP. The CPP came. I think the Unity Party was very strategic and smart to join the CPP, because what the CPP did for them was to recharge its battery. It rebooted. It put some jolt in the Unity Party's soul, right? And the Unity Party started getting. But then here comes Costa, who took not the Unity Party per se, though, but the JMB brand and ran with it and made it his and made it personal. Costa made enemies. I mean, he took the fight to political leaders. The relationship that Costa is suffering, the relationship with the ANC today, is because of the stance he took in fighting for JMB. But yet and still, Jackie, when Costa's name was mentioned about possibly, because ultimately that decision is JMB's, but when Costa's name was mentioned, we saw a lot of backlash from hardcore members of the Unity Party. Jackie, is the Unity Party. You know, there's this thing about the Unity Party being a party that use, you know, when they use you, they jelly you. Is that something that's what we're seeing here? And do you think Costa deserves to be in this conversation as a member of the Unity Party and a strong supporter of the vice president?
Well, first of all, let's make something clear out there. Unity Party has not released a short list or a list of its possible running mate or VP candidates. So all this discussion that we're having is speculation. As
Well,
to
you
who's
know,
on the
but
list
party-
and who's not on the list.
But in all fairness, Jack, the
There
parties
has
don't
not
release
been
short
any
lists.
list out there. That should be disclosed and put out there. Unity Party has not released
Yeah, but in
a
all
list
fairness,
to
parties don't
say
release short lists.
these are the people who are on the short list.
No, but they don't
So,
do that. In all
to
fairness,
go
parties don't
and
do that.
look, it's up to the party to do that or to not do that. So officially, I'm speaking facts. There has not been a list. So people are speculating, oh, there may be Kun, there may be this, there may be that, there may be the other. Having said that, everybody, including Henry Costa, has a right to express interest one way or the other, whether it's directly or indirectly, in being a running mate to the VP boycott. So, what is your other question for me?
You see, you know what I like about you?
Uh,
Again, like I say, the UP is coming out of your veins. I can see it as we have this show. When it comes to the other issue, there she can't forget the question. She know how to hit. But let me ask you again.
So you made a statement.
No.
You said
My question is, what was the venom? What was all of the arrows, the shots? And the shots was not coming from outside. The shots were coming from hardcore members of the Unity Party, hardcore supporters of the
But
vice
Ben,
president.
I would ask you, where did you get that information? And again,
it was
just
all
like
out
how,
there.
listen, just like how anybody has a right, even me,
Yeah,
I have a right to express interest in being JMB running
I
mate.
agree.
Okay,
I agree.
somebody out there, whether the Unity Party, the tag team, ANC, or even just a regular citizen, or even CDC member, has a right to also say, listen, I don't think Jackie would be a good fit, or I think she would be a good fit. I don't think she would be a good fit for this reason, or she may be a good fit for this reason for GMB. So yeah, there will be conversations across the board, even with
Yeah, but you
ANC.
still ain't answer my question. But anyway,
What is the question? And
my
secondly,
question-
you said that UP has a way of using people and spitting people
No,
out.
I didn't say that. I said
I
that
don't think
there is
that's a fair
no. You see, let me clarify. I said there is a perception out there that UP has a way of using people and dropping them. And so when I saw, oh, Henry is following, which is good. When I saw when I saw the ferocity, I mean, the way some of the people who were coming at Henry Costa, just because, and that's my point. My point was JMB had not announced Costa, or JMB may not announce Costa, but just the mention of his name, some of the venom that I saw coming at Costa, and that venom was not coming from CDC. That venom was not coming from ANC. That venom was coming from the Unity Party.
But
what
Ben,
do you say about
you
that?
can't just conclusively say that all the venom coming from
Majority, some of the people I saw,
people across the board. No, don't cancel me out. There will be people. Henry has been out there for many years, over 10 plus years. So he has a lot of followers. He has good relationship with people within the Unity Party. And maybe there may be some people in the Unity Party, and there are people in the Unity Party who also support Henry Costa. It's not it may not be everybody, because everybody feel that, hey, if there's a list for us to choose from, there will be some people who will say, okay, we want this person, we want that person, we want Henry Costa, or we want Senator Lawrence. People have expressed themselves differently. So we are in a time where, yeah, maybe there will be some conversation, because if I'm advocating for Senator Lawrence, definitely I will find a reason to say, oh no, Costa shouldn't go there because of this reason. Okay. It doesn't mean that in the end, when VP Boycott selects his VP candidate, that the Unity Party would not rally around him and say, look, this is who he has chosen. Right now, when people are in competition, it's like a soccer game or what have you. People got their red outfit, or i.e. Barrow. Okay, we say, oh no, Barrow not good for this reason, i.e. not good for this reason. It's a normal process. It's politics. So in the end, when he selects his candidate, everybody will rally around him. I mean, his running mate, and we will move on.
I want to give Jeff the last word on this. Dr. Peabody, I want to bring in the Costa situation again, because, like I said, he has been the latest kid on the block, the new girl on the block, right? He's the one who everybody have been talking about of late. Were you shocked at some of the venom you saw coming towards Henry Costa from members of the Unity Party? I mean, I'm talking about strong supporters of the Unity Party. Were you very, very shocked?
I was shocked because, I mean, let's be realistic here. Costa have earned a special place within our party. He really, in some way, promoted the vice president in many ways. He went the extra miles. He did fundraisers. When the vice president came here, he was taking him places and getting him engaged and meeting with different folks in meetings and all of that. He spent his time on his show every day, weeks, months, promoting the vice president. I'm not saying that the vice president will have to make his decision on who's the best person for him, but I think in some way, I think Costa in some way really went an extra mile in promoting this vice president in all cases, you know. So I think he earned it. At the end of the day, the vice president will make a decision, but you can't rule him out. He led one of the biggest demonstrations in our country in recent time. You know, he controlled a group, the COP, and other stuff. You know, so you just can't rule him out. I mean, it will be left with the vice president to.
Thank you.
But if you look at Costa, you know, and Jeremiah Kuhn was probably coming because he comes from one of the biggest county in Liberia, Nima County, and he could probably bring a lot of votes for the president. But in terms of really working and being there, I think Costa played a role. I mean, I was really surprised because I felt that he was one of those faces that really.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Peabody. Kef Hassan, I want you to come in here and I know I don't want to say take off your CDC hat because I know you never take off your CDC hat. So I would just say, Flo, Henry Costa, say what you want to say about Henry Costa. Let's be fair, guys. Say what you want to say about Henry Costa. Like I said, he took the JMB brand. Listen, the brand was wounded. You know, I know Jackie didn't let for me to say it, but the brand was wounded. Whether you like it or not, I mean, the defeat was massive. It's almost like
we came in second, though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you came in second, but yeah, I agree. But what I'm saying is that the trauma, you got trauma patient. This is what your party was going through after 2017. You know, and I saw Costa take on, fights for UP, take on fights for JMB. Kef Hassan, the name, just when they mention the name, now in all fairness, let me state for the record, I have seen some softening, right? I've seen some smoothing of the waters. I've seen some waters calm down. I've seen some people come along. So apparently maybe there's been some outreach happening in the background. And if some outreach is happening in the background, Kef Hassan, does it speak to Henry Costa's strength? That maybe he's reaching out to people? One of the criteria that we have laid out here is that a potential VP pick should be able to bring the party together or bring the base together. Does it speak? And what are your thoughts on Henry Costa becoming the vice standard bearer to Vice President Joe Boycott? Kef Hassan.
I would say this. Loyalty is a key. It's a key ingredient in our daily life. Who can we trust? When I just take a look at those people who around JMB, who some people want to pick. When JMB political career was sinking, Who was there? Ask yourself that question. Who was there? I disagree with Costa in every angle, politically. But who was there? Pedro Costa. Who put his life on the line? Not Jeremiah Coons, not Yombli Kanga, but Costa. And let me say this to the Liberian people. I don't want to face Costa. I don't. I don't want to face Costa. You're going to condemn Costa. I don't want to face Costa. He led the biggest rally in our country. And guess what happened to that rally? 2020, the opposition won the biggest seat in the country. So people who walking around and saying, oh, Costa, you're not this, Costa, you're not that. You don't know. This man stood up. I disagree with him. He fought for GMB. He's not a Unity Party partisan, but he resurrected the Unity Party. Only Costa did that. I dare anybody to put the hand up and show who resurrected the Unity Party. Show. You come. The man from ALP. And now you're coming and say, oh, now Costa, you're not this, Costa, you're not that. Loyalty is the key. I believe in loyalty. I believe in loyalty. And loyalty can make you succeed. Not go passing around and say, oh, I want Yombli Kanga. When the Unity Party were dropping like a manna for heaven, where those Yombli Kanga or Jeremiah Kun? Oh, because okay, Jeremiah Kun will win him out. Are you joking? Are you joking? Oh, will win the battle with it. Are you joking? You think CDC we just there? You just take this place? We all over. We in your face. But if anybody think that Costa is an easy ride because if you pick Costa, then everything, you joking.
Okay.
So for me, if JMB don't pick Costa, it's okay for me.
Okay. Thank you, Kev. Listen, I think we've exhausted, but Jackie, I know we will have you come back. Listen, this is we didn't even go to Mr. Cummings. Again, like I said, Mr. Cummings, and maybe we will squeeze Mr. Cummings in on Friday on the discussion point, because the JMB pick it's almost like there's a wait and see thing going on right now with everybody, right? Everybody's waiting to see who Vice President Joe Barker will make when he will make that pick, and if he does make that pick, what's gonna happen? Who's gonna feel bad? Who's gonna fall by the wayside? What's gonna happen? All of those different things, people are watching to see. But having said that, I think, and like I said before, I think this is probably one of the most important decisions Vice President Barker will make. Any presidential candidate, when you make your pick for your vice president, this is one of the most important decisions that you will make. And whatever decision he makes, I believe, is going to be very consequential. It's going to be very, very, very consequential. It will shape the race up. It will really, really shape the race up, because in the end, what will end up happening is you will find the different alignments. Say if he doesn't, there is a thing out there that if he doesn't pick what's the man name? Jeremiah Cohn from NIMBA. There is a possibility that maybe Cohn may go as vice president to Alexander Cummings, or maybe Cohn may run as president himself. So there's so many dynamics. The only piece of puzzle that I think is still lingering out there, that is Senator Yombi Lawrence. What happens to Senator Yombi Lawrence if she doesn't get the nod will also be very important, and we will be watching to see what will end up happening in the end. But I tell you, if anybody underestimates Henry Costa, you're doing it at your peril. Listen, it's going to be VP Boykott's choice. But I know one of the things that you also want in a vice president, or at least in a vice presidential candidate, is a fighter. It's somebody who can take the punches, somebody who can throw the blows. You know, I'm not saying Cohn can do it. I'm not saying Yombly can do it, but you can clearly see that Henry is, you know, he's been that person for Joe Boycott, and that's why I was very shocked when I saw some of the reactions when his name was mentioned, because I was like, okay, I don't understand. His name has not been announced. All he's doing right now, all that's happening right now is his name is being thrown out there. But having said that, I thought it was a fascinating conversation about the VP picks. Jackie, I know we're gonna go to the thing. I know you took a little jab about some of the issues in the country, and I know Kev wanted to go ahead and answer, but maybe let's do this. Let's take some calls, right? We probably get to studio because it's 6:30 here, so it's, what is it, the time right now in Liberia? I think it's 10:30 or something in Liberia right now. Let's take some calls. Let's open the phone lines and let get our people to participate. Let them talk about both ways. I know the only thing probably they will talk about will be the VP thing, because that's the last thing we discuss. But let's go ahead and open the phone lines. We'll open the phone lines from Morovia, and we'll also open the phone lines here in the diaspora to see our people participate. So studio, you guys can come in, and we can then begin the process of opening the phone lines.
And so the numbers are pinned on the screen for those watching on our live feed. So the number to partake on the program by 0775 603360. 0775 603360. 087 20 0050. 087 20 0050 are the number. So let's take this first person on the line. Good evening. Good evening, caller.
Yes, good evening. Yeah, good evening. Hello? Good evening. My name is Alvin Chair. I'm part of a soaking at Diamond Creek. You got it? Hello?
Let's hear you, Alvin.
Yeah, my take on the issue is, if you're supposed to die on Saturday and you didn't die, you're having to die on Sunday, it's the same dying. Anywhere they come, we are waiting. We sedition. We are waiting to defeat them. To our victory for George, and we are the developmental environment of our country. So I read my case.
Thank you. And so we pick this call. Good evening.
Hello,
Yes, good evening. Your name, where have you called from?
my name is Joe Manley, commonly known as Manley Aaron Manley. I call from Grand Bassa, Buchanan City, to be specific.
Thank you. Let's hear you.
Yes, I wanna disagree with all of the points made by Madam Jackie, and in the picking of a fight and Barra. I also want to disagree with my chair, Ben Savin, that Karen Costa is a formidable force. The Liberian people will select you or choose you based on your role. Everything that Henry Costa had done for President Boycott is being on the basis of advocacy. When you're a presidential material, the Liberian people identify you. When you're a vice presidential material, identify you. So vice president material, vice president Joseph Boakai is a tough decision, and Manajaki cannot play ball with that. She knows that. Anybody running against President William and Joel Taylor must have a characteristics of cutting across the country. It's not an issue of how much work a president has done for an individual, and the vice president must be level-headed, be calm, because he cannot outshine the presidency. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening. Well, 087 200 050. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, your name and where have you called from?
Hello.
Good evening. You are live on the closing argument.
Yeah. Good evening. My name is Alvin Daniel, and I come from the UN draft.
Let's hear you.
Well, let me appreciate you people for the talking point, and also let me appreciate the Almighty God for pumping breath into us. But my brother, the only thing I have to say is this: look, we don't want so money for us to hear bad news. The reason I'm saying there's so money hearing bad news is that Derek Carter has been going as a bad president to Omen Joseph Human Parker. I tell you, my brother, so money will hear bad because if you got it, they are very ambitious for power. Because you see, president, we have they forget to know that everybody gets different style. President, we have been president for the reason. One of them want to be president. You say you want to be president, you want to be senator. You can't fight high and get a senator position if you want to be bad president because the owner in that kind of so money will hear bad news.
What do you mean? What do you mean when you say we hear bad news?
Because I see the kind of human being very ambitious for power. So maybe you want to do something to the woman to take over on a serious note.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. We hold it there. Good evening. Good evening, you're live.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Ben. Good evening, Keith. Good evening, Tomadi Joy. Good evening, Talopi. Boy, my name is Ramsey Smith, and I call you on Liberia to be precise, Waka Island, Upper 16, Little SK, District number 12.
Go ahead.
Let me appreciate all the panelists in studio this evening for their brilliant deliberation. But I just want to disagree with Sister Jackie McKay when it comes to the issue of Joseph Yuma Bwaka, making a decision as a statement. I strongly believe that Joseph Yuma Bwaka, as a former vice president who served this country for 12 years, is not very, capacitated when it comes to making decisions. On the watch of Joseph Yuma Bwaka, a chairman of CPP, who witnessed the complete collapse of CPP. Honor his leadership as local leader of the United Party. We saw United Party being evicted from her headquarters in the Concord town because she could not, live up to her rent obligation with her tenants, or landlord rather. So I believe that Joseph Yuma Bwaka is very, weak when it comes to making decisions. The fact that he cannot, select a running mate at this time, it means that Joseph Yuma Bwaka is unfit and incapacitated to rule this country as a president. Before I drop the line, let me go about this information. If you can recall, in 2017, Ben Savi, Joseph Yuma Bwaka was the last presidential candidate to select running mate, and Nuko was selected 2 days to the expiration of his running mate.
Thank you. So we have to hold you there because we have her on the line. So good evening. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, your name and where have you called from?
Okay, I'm Titus Westlaw, calling you from the local town Queer Street.
Let's hear you.
You got noise.
You gotta stop listening to your monitor.
He has noise in the
And
background.
listen to the line directly.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. How you doing?
I'm okay. Name and where have you called from?
Yeah, my name is Akis. You are calling from Mount Baptist.
Let's hear you.
Yeah, I just want to regard to you because I've been waiting to listen to the answer. I was just trying tonight when I got on the station. I heard the news. So
I was happy to listen to Vincent Kia Hassan, Tarapi Bali. I thank you. Yeah, that's all.
Well, thank you. So we go for this contact overseas. Good evening.
Hello,
Yes, good evening. You're live.
this is Diamond A. Washington from New York City.
Let's hear you.
I was just calling. Can I talk?
You're
Yes,
live
go
on
ahead. Go ahead.
Closing Argument. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. I was going to call to say, y'all Liberian people better leave Henry Costa alone. Among all those people, Henry is the only one that's actually putting work. He's the only one that's actually actually competent to do the job. And Liberians are very ungrateful. They don't like people that want to help them. They like to break down each other that actually want to help, and then they like to put the bad people that's destroying them up and glorify them. For now, there's no other good person. So why are we even arguing about who Mr. Barker is gonna choose? If you choose Henry, you even want to choose me, so I would say yes. You understand? So we should be happy when we get good people that actually gonna put foot and get the job done. All day you're talking about president, we are he this and that. Then they get correct people for y'all to either get sense. Y'all can be fighting yourself. Y'all don't like good things, so that's all I wanted to say. We need to stop that for real. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Your name and where have you called from?
Yeah, this is Mohammed S. Kone, and I'm called from Johnsonville. Thank to the guys on the show, and they make a brilliant analysis. But quite to VP issue concerning about Joseph Yuma Walker. To be candid with you guys, it is long overdue. The former vice president need to act now. It is long overdue. For me, I support Leader Heaven Pedro Costa to be VP to JMB because you have sacrificed a lot. I've never agreed with Kev before, to be candid. I've never. Kevin, I most of Kev analysis I see it to be distorted, but he made a brilliant analysis. And I do agree with him. Loyalty pays a lot. So long somebody is loyal to you, you should look at the sacrifice the person made. And beyond that, you cannot say Leader Kosa is not qualified. He's qualified. He been around. He understands the happiness. He understands the living condition of the Liberian people. That's why he true advocates to advocate for Liberian people. Insofar the Unity Party was particularly there. Like Chairman Ben Service stated, it was particularly there. Nobody should sugarcoat it.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, my name is Papi Flomo. Call from Tapeta.
Thank you for joining us on the Closing Argument. Let's hear you.
Yeah, I was just watching and Spoon, and then the CEO is there. He's alleging that Ben and the others wanted to accept 50,000 from the government of Liberia to sell his station. So wanted to clarify.
Well, thank you. Even though we have not discussed anything relating to that, but it's up to the panelists on the show
$1,000.
to speak to
Okay,
that.
thank you.
Good evening.
Yeah, but
I debate you didn't address that. We didn't address that.
nobody
Yeah,
knew.
yeah, how are you, sir?
Good evening. Your name and where have you called from?
My name is Mark Kadami. I'm calling from New Jersey.
Let's hear you.
Yeah, I'm just using this medium to please talk to Senator Kuhn, who is on NIMA, to please be able to pay my money. He rented my property. He lives in it for 1 year, 3 months, refused to pay me. Everywhere I go, he bribes whosoever I talk to. I'm currently asking him to pay my money.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so I think we can discuss that on another platform on this KMTV, but
yeah, so
that's
that's
exactly what
we're
we're
at
discussing
6:40.
tonight. So
Let's take two more calls.
We'll continue with this.
We'll take two more calls.
I'm in a brand new
And we
situation. That's why I'm
conclude the calling segment on this program. So
yeah,
let's see if we can take this call.
Take two more calls, and then we'll try to wrap up here.
Good evening.
Hello.
Yes, good evening. You're live on the closing
Hello.
argument. Good evening. You're live.
Okay. I'm Moses Oleju, and I call from McDonald Street this evening.
Let's hear you.
The program is so, I like it. I love what you guys are doing tonight. Really don't like the call, but I just got to motivate you guys to do more of this. I want to thank you tonight. Let me give your callers the chance to talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. So we take the last call and then we go over to the crew for the continuation of the program. So let's see if we can take this last person. Good evening. Was 0775 603360 0775 60 3360 and 0887
If there's no more callers, it's okay. Yes, we can wrap up.
2050 are the numbers to call and be part of
Good.
the program, the closing argument. Well, folks, there you have it. And
Thank you,
so
studio.
it's over now to Ben Sanvi to
Thank you,
continue.
studio. Thank you,
on that.
guys. Guys, you heard the callers. There's a mixture, and I think it shows that as we enter the political season, this is what you're going to get. I think people will have difference of opinions on who this VP pick will be and who this other VP pick will not be. Again, on the issue of Henry Costa, I think there's just so much that is out there, and at the end of the day, like I always say, VP Boyka will make his choice. And that decision will happen very soon. And we're looking forward to seeing who he, to seeing who who he will be picking. So let's go around the horn and what are your thoughts on what the callers have said, and we'll go ahead and take it from there and try to wrap it up. Jackie, you want to take the first stab, or we're gonna go with Tommy Lynn?
Well, let me say this. Being balanced. I remember in when was the last election? 2020. Here in the US, when Biden during the primaries, I think it was the initial stages of the Democratic primaries, there was a statement that Kamala Harris made where she said she was a little girl on the bus, a black girl. And during the process where Biden as a senator, the U.S. Congress were trying to debate and pass, acts regarding this whole discrimination and what have you. Kamala Harris took a jab at Biden. From that point on, her popularity became the lowest, and later on she ended up dropping from the race because people attacked her for attacking Biden. And people were surprised that when Biden was trying to look at possible running mates, that Kamala Harris even made the list. But Kamala Harris behind the scene tried to reach out an olive branch to people within the Democratic Party, even the population at large, to say, look, hey, yeah, that was politics, although I said that, but I am qualified. It is up to each and every person who is interested in being the running mate to JMB. If you feel that other people have a difference of opinion about you and that's not so favorable, to reach across the aisle and reconcile that. If Kamala Harris can do that, these possible candidates, like I say, United Party has not released an official short list, can also do that. Secondly, being balanced here, I have read things that were said about all these people who we have named today, including Senator Congan Lawrence, Senator Kuhn. There have been positive and not so positive things that have been said about all of them. All of them. Maybe more so on one against one than the other, but all of them. They've been good and they've been not so good. Again, only one person can occupy that seat. And just because JNB decides to pick this person, it doesn't mean that he doesn't appreciate the loyalty of the other people who have been there for him. It doesn't mean that. And I'm sure as he makes his final decision, he will reach out to the other people and see in what capacities can they help to serve should he become the next president come 2023. So that's what I wanted to say in closing in regards to, we making our closing statement now, or we just okay.
Yeah,
In regards to the running mate and stuff like that. Secondly, I want to say March is closing, and I wanted to do that in my opening. And as a female here on this panel, I cannot let March pass since the show has launched and we don't acknowledge Women's International Month. A lot of women across the globe for decades and centuries have fought to make this world a better place, bringing it specifically to Liberia. We have had a lot of wonderful women out there who have helped to strengthen our country, to make our country a better place, and to also make the world a better place. And a few names come to mind. One starting with Angie. I mean, they go way back to our flag and what have you, our independence and what have you. Women were a part of the process. But coming to our modern day history, you got people like Angie Brooks Randall, who was the first president and first Black woman to serve on the United General UN Council, Secretary General. She was the first president, and still today, she remains the second female to lead the UN. Nobody else has done that, and she came from Liberia. And during that period, Liberia played an integral role in helping to liberate other countries from colonialism. I want us to recognize the women who have made a huge difference in our country. Liberia has also played a leading role in modern day history that even America has not been able to achieve. We have had the first female president. We also have our female vice president. And these are all major accomplishments. You're talking that Liberia has made over the past centuries, decades, and even in recent history. Also, I want to shout out to all our women civil society groups out there that have and continue to make a difference today. And just to acknowledge women from around the world, we have done a lot, and I want to encourage, in closing with this women, with International Women's Month, to encourage young girls and women, young girls to come forward no matter where you are. Politics is everybody's business. Prior to Obama time running for president, I was never interested in politics. It was that one 2008 that opened my eyes to politics. And since then, I've been involved. I encourage every woman, women in leadership, we need to participate one way or the other and to help make this world a better place for our children and our children's children. And shout out to the men who have been there and stood up and stood up with us to fight for women's rights.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you so much. And you are right. Happy International Women's Month. And you are absolutely right on that. So let's go ahead to go to Tomilin. Tomilin, you want to go ahead with your closing?
Guys, it was a good discussion about our country. First thing, the VP pick, as I said, former Vice President Boga is in a tough spot, and right now in opposition on the opposition side, everyone's counting on him. You talk to all the guys, the major players involved, they will tell you we are waiting to see what Boga will be his next move. Based on that, before we're gonna take the next step. And like I said all the time, and once the picks are made, once the tickets are formed, the politics will start. We'll get to the real politics and so forth. But in the next couple of weeks, months, we're gonna see the needle gonna move. We'll see the playing field will change, and people are gonna start taking shape. But as I hear, sometimes I was telling you, some of you guys today, I said, look, people talking about, there'll be and cheating and so forth. No, let me tell you guys, let me just say something today. They were announced. NEC will say, we're having 5,000 polling stations across the country. It's an electoral district. They announced the polling station. All you need to do, make sure you have people at this very polling station. And I can tell you, because of technology, on election night, we will know exactly the outcome of the election before anything even announced. We'll know it. If you really post your people at the very polling stations, the first three top three candidates, they will sign the sheet. NEC official will sign it and they'll give it to you. You send it to your war room, you'll put it in the system, and you know where you stand. So, but if you don't put people to the right places and that you want to see monitored, and the result come up, you blame yourself. And one thing, the U.S. government will tell you, the observer will say, yeah, there were irregularities, but that's more free and fair. Every young issue that statement, ECOWAS issue that statement, and that will be history. So I want them to be very careful and stop showing these cards and focus on your the election strategy. And also use the occasion to encourage Liberians to go out and vote. We will be taking it.
To register.
Huh?
To register.
To register to vote.
Register to vote. Yeah, because I'll be going to register to vote in my GB county, my county of birth. I'll be there in the next few days. I'll be going to vote, register to vote. We want to ensure that our vote counts and so forth. And then somebody asked a question about somebody brought issue about something that was said on another network.
No, we don't have to. We're not going to waste our time with. Let's go ahead and get Dr. Peabody, and then we'll go to Kev Hassan.
Well, I think it was another action-packed and exciting night. Great discussion, brilliant minds, and I think there's just so much to discuss. But in regards to the VP, I think he's taking his time, going slowly, slow but sure. You know, somebody said that he may be slow, but he will be on time. So I think that's the right thing he's doing. He's trying to find somebody who can unite, who can govern, and who can bring the party together. You know, but it's another exciting night, and let me say that it's a great show. And I can already see that the closing argument is breaking hearts. People are getting hearts. They are coming up with lies already because it's hurting them really, really bad.
Okay.
In the next few weeks, they will call our road, they will call our criminal. But I think you can evaluate yourself and know that this show is independent mind. Some people are already getting frustrated. But he who down fear no fool, and we're not going to give into that. Thank you.
It's okay, guys. Kev Hassan, please do your closing argument, please.
Yeah. You know, I don't know if it's true, but I was getting information that JMB might be announcing tomorrow. I stand to be corrected.
Kev, how do you get information from JMB?
That's what we hearing. Say it might come out.
You need a tell him, man.
Yeah, it might come out tomorrow. But
it's coming out very soon. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
So you guys, let's see. But I can tell you that tomorrow is Thursday. If the news break tomorrow, we will be on tomorrow, right, guys?
Yeah, we'll be on the news break.
We will be on tomorrow. It will break. Yeah.
Why are you so concerned? You're pushing. Oh, we'll be on tomorrow. Why are you so concerned?
Guy, you want to talk about your VP pick? Don't mind.
Because we want to know, you know. Yeah. So we will see. But anyway, good show. Good show. You know, we'll see tomorrow.
Guys, listen, man, amazing. Thank you for another fascinating night. Peabody, Kev, Tomlin, our own sister Jackie. Thank you for bringing such grace and listen. We appreciate you. We appreciate you, Jackie, and thank you for joining this family. We told you in the back that what we do, and we do it well, we protect our own. So I want to thank you for your contribution. And I mean, the reviews are raving. I think you know that since you started here and since, you know, you launched yourself, I mean, you've always been a public person, but, you know, to this level, we want to thank you for your substance that you bring to the conversation. You know, the slogan, the statement in our logo is for a specific reason. And a lot of people don't know, and we'll take the last couple of minutes to address a few things on what gave birth to this name. Right. It was Tomlin George, who we were looking for names all over the place, trying to figure out what we will do after we had everybody know exactly what had happened. And there was this different thing about talking about different segments of the show. And Tomlin said, But we got to have a portion of the show called the closing argument. And I remember on that call when everybody said, but Dominic, that's the name right there. This is where the people will come to close the argument. And like I said, the logo, the slogan, bringing you substance and not conspiracy theories. There's a lot of conspiracy theories going around. And we believe that the Liberian voter and the people of Liberia deserves the best. Many Liberians don't know what good looks like. And so we continue to put our country in a situation where people who don't have a clue and inclination tend to try to act like they have a monopoly on information for our people. We will not peddle in conspiracy theories on this platform. You don't know why? Because we have the respect of the people, the policy makers, and the thing I'm saying, people know what I'm saying. We will bring the biggest, the brightest, and the policy makers on this show. Like people said, there's a lot of funky fever going around. There's a lot of jittery going around because people know the value that we bring. There's value. There's a reason why presidents, former presidents, ministers, directors, bankers, all of the entire society hold us in high regard. And we want to say to you, our fans, those of you out there, to thank you for your support. Thank you for your support. Because the first show, I mean, when I saw 900 shares, listen, this is the closing argument. And guess what, guys? Monday, you guys will see production. We're not joking here. Y'all will see the production of what you guys will benefit from. You will see what talk show should look like. We will hang up our boots after the elections, after the inauguration. Maybe Tommy will won't stay on. Maybe you have to change the name. You have to find another name, Jackie. But I would say this: when we hang up our boots, we will leave a mark that people will understand that we did it and we did it well. So I just want to thank all of you, and I appreciate all of you. You guys are family, and I want to thank all of you. All of you out there, we want to thank you. We want to thank KMTV. Magnificent production. The best in the business. We never made a mistake. We knew what we wanted, and we went for it. Hott FM, thank you. 36 radio stations across the country. Thank you. And it's going to grow because people want to hear substance and not conspiracy theories. People don't want to hear lies and innuendos. People want to hear proper English, proper speaking. People want they want to watch people who understand the issues and not people who peddle in lies and gossip. We don't lie and gossip on this platform. That's why we have access to the information that we have. Studio, you can come on and take us home. And guess what? Like Kev said, if JMB breaks some news tomorrow, you will see our faces. Take it from here, and we see you guys. To all our fans, we love you, and we thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you on Friday. Bye-bye.
Friday at 4:30.
Well, folks, thanks for watching the closing argument. You've been listening to the panelists from the closing argument. You listen to Madam Jackie McKay, Chairman Ben Sanvi, Tada Heron Peabody. You also listen to St. Thomas Josh, and the most talk about Kev Hassan. We're bringing you programs of quality in broadcasting. So the next time you catch them on your TV screen and radio is going to be on Friday, because we are here Monday Wednesday and Friday. So thanks for watching KMTV. And we're going to be here on Friday to bring you the best that you will always need on your TV screen. My name is Aisin Diba. Have yourself a wonderful night from the nation's capital, Monrovia.
Let your celebration begin with Park Liquor Outlet, your first Liberian-owned liquor store in the city of Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. We have everything that you need to set that special occasion or bride. For your next party or great get-together with friends, visit Park Liquor Outlet. We have great selection of beer, wine, gin, and many more at affordable prices. Our customer service will make you always want to come back. We are open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Park Liquor Outlet, your one-stop celebration store. We are located at 6315 Zine Avenue North, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Visit us today and feel the difference. When the issues of Liberia hit the news,
what is it that we, the Liberian people, want?
The Liberian communities in the diasporas are not left out. That's why Diaspora's Talk is back on your screens on KMTV.
In fact, the United Party is not cohesive.
Be it social, political, economic, and other issues affecting Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
I did not expect to even make it to Hollywood.
Join Cyrus McGee and Nathan Charles every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, live on KMTV, Facebook, and YouTube.
I want to be arrested in the midst of my people.
As they discuss the issues, blending the voices from Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
The Liberian Business Association in the diaspora should be used as a vehicle for economic development in Liberia because no country can develop without a diaspora impact.
For sponsorship, call some numbers 612-806-5896, 816-433-3979, or better still, email us at usakmtv@gmail.com. Diaspora Talk, turn this out.